Hi, everyone. Welcome to Feast Foreplay podcast. I'm here today with Kate Alderman, who's one of our fantastic facilitators. It's her third year with us at Feast. So great to be with you, Kate.
I'm grateful to be here. Thank you, Susan. Thanks very much.
Yay. Yay. So, this is an opportunity for you to share a bit of your own story and journey around pleasure and eroticism and your body, and kind of what led you into doing the incredible work that you now do. So, I'm curious to begin with, would you be willing to share, like, where did this all begin for you? Like, what drew you towards working with sexuality, your body, pleasure?
Oh, well, yeah, I guess it's going to be a long story, but I'll try and keep it as short as.
Yeah,
Um,
great.
so yeah, when I first sort of followed a soul path or a soul calling, I guess I found myself studying personal training, and it was kind of the first kind of invitation back to the body, back to the physical health of the body, and then even journeying into the mind and the mindset. And I was doing some bodybuilding competitions and that sort of thing. And when that was all sort of seemingly over, I just started to ask bigger questions of life. Surely there's more to life than train, eat, sleep. And within a month, I had a near-death experience, a motorcycle accident that I should have been killed, absolutely. And because I wasn't, I was left asking many questions, and the bigger questions and the bigger answers continued to come, and it inspired me to get more into meditation and self-hypnosis and yoga, a lot more yoga, and doing less, physical training in the gym, and a lot more self-development in doing landmarks programs, quite a lot of their curriculum. And then, in this kind of almost fearless space from all of this work that I had done on myself, I'd ask myself the question, well, what's next? What is it that I've always been scared of that I wanted to do? And that led me to, through synchronicity, found myself in the Peruvian Amazon, drinking ayahuasca and doing a medicinal plant dieta for the first time, and getting to the truth of who I was through connecting my plants and getting a lot of insight and guidance. And soon after that became a yoga instructor myself. That was the pathway that was opening up, and firstly, establishing safety within my body and on a yoga mat was kind of where it all began, I guess. And continuing to work with the master plants and getting a lot of insight into areas of my life that I was experiencing like blockages, and particularly was around sexual, experiencing pain and discomfort during intimacy, and also at the time, like my body, I hadn't had a menstrual cycle, or I hadn't had a period for more than a decade at that point, and was asking the plant questions in this higher dimensional states, like what is going on here. And soon discovered that there's just some learning and experiences that we just have to have here on the earth plane, that sort of learning that can only come through practice, exercise, and experience. And so that led me to researching and just discovered the International School of Temple Arts, and did their sexual shamanic initiation, the level 1, level 2, 6 months later, and that led me over to India to assist that level 1 with under Elaine Young, and then do her Master Your Pleasure training only a few weeks later. So there was quite a lot of work in this erotic, and that was all like within 12 months. And I do remember my first experience with ISTA, the International School of Temple Arts. It's just that group learning, I think it was 150 people. So, that safety that I discovered on my yoga mat and within myself was now put to test in like being around all of these other people, and obviously the forefront, like the foreground, the foundation of the work that I was just invited into was just into, establishing safety in my body, regulating my nervous system, feeling emotionally free, and being in consent with myself, and being able to have boundaries and to put them up with, I'm definitely a person that grew up in a way that was a very people pleasing, was kind of like programmed into me, conditioned into me since I was a child. And in a female body, a vulva owner, that it seems like a bit of a pattern there for a lot of us. unlearning those patterns and this was the best place for it, to be able to come into full integrity with myself and the way that I interacted with the world around me. And yeah, so the practices of everything that came from everything from ISTA and working with Elaine and then studying somatic sexology as well, that helped me overcome this pain and discomfort, a little bit of work on the physical level, but most of what was causing the discomfort was, me in my emotions or in my mind while I'm trying to be in this experience, which is obviously not helpful when you're trying to get blood circulation and relaxation happening in the body at the same time. So yeah, so overcoming that, but also the menstrual cycle returning as well. Obviously, we regulate the body, it regulates the digestive system, the hormonal system, and everything just naturally comes back online from that space. And yeah, so it's been, absolutely so passionate about this work and just living it and breathing it and just love being involved with Feast and just being able to share with, a community of people who are just like open to this work and have, taken themselves to the edge of like what might feel uncomfortable or taboo, but just gone there anyway. And what they've discovered is just a whole new world of safety beyond what their mind was even previously imagining, like just being able to go to that scary place and, potentially scary. Well, what's this all about?
Yeah.
Overcome that.
I can hear, there was some really, like your journey was step by step into this space, and foundational to taking each next step was a sense of safety, and not just from a head space. Like often our head will say, yeah, I'm safe here, but from that felt sense of knowing in the body gets to settle. And that sounds like that was a foundational piece that kept supporting you to step in to the next piece.
And
Yeah.
continues to as well. I mean, most people are very aware that I've just recently found myself in a relationship with an abusive and violent man. And, obviously that was a very tricky, very challenging situation to be in. And the skills that I had to, to be able to ground myself, to regulate, to express, it got very discerning and having to use discernment at times. And yeah, it's a very tricky situation while I was in it. New truth about this person that wasn't there before, and then you having to to process that, to digest that. And I learned a new term just recently this week about protective dissonance, which is when the cortex part of the brain shuts down when there's this, obviously knew this person for 2 years before they started to become violent, and this new piece of information is too much and too shocking for the body to process all in one moment. So it's like it's a layering. As the body's starting to establish more and more safety, and there's more of those memories and more of the truth that's coming back online, because obviously the cortex is becoming more active. And it's safe now to remember these things and to actually see things with clarity for what they actually were. So yeah, these practices and obviously a lot of post PTSD education after the experience and in the last 8 months of recovery has just been like essential to my recovery. This is that I keep leaning into and guiding other people through, working and using them on myself, and just in what were definitely the most challenging experience of my life so far, is the recovery part of this process. And yeah, without these tools to come back to establishing safety in myself, yeah, I don't know how I would be going without that. And then,
yeah, safety through the body, through the nervous system, so important. So I can hear how passionate you are about that and working somatically to create safety. I'm curious, in terms of your workshop spaces, how do you bring that into your workshops?
Well, at the moment, the workshop that I'll be presenting at Feast is about regulating and thriving and regulating the nervous system. And we're going to be working mostly with self-regulation, co-regulation. Obviously, when you've got other people around is useful, when you've got a grounded and embodied adult that you can, get some touch from or have a hug from, or, with consent, obviously. But that's not always possible. A lot of the time we are on our own, and if you land yourself in a situation like I was in, you've got yourself and that is it. So we all have to have this take responsibility for our own regulation in our own body. And so, yeah, we'll be exploring some different practices, exercise experiences, breath work, sound, movement, and yeah, some other sort of emotional freedom techniques, that sort of thing. But it's all about, reestablishing safety in the body, because our sense of pleasure and our experience of life in pleasure in life is extremely limited if we don't have safety, if we can't
Yeah.
establish that within ourselves. It's foundational for safety. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that the role of our individual nervous system in creating safety is so important, and teaching people the skills, because this is, I think a lot of us live our lives very disconnected from the body and our mind, and our cognitions are kind of overprivileged in our culture, and we forget we have this great resource that we can use, which is our own nervous system. So teaching people how to do that. And also, in that bigger context, that feast really holds that integrity and that container for us to do that work in. It's really important, that holding from the outside in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is such a safe container. It's one of the things I look forward to most about feast, is just like the level of relaxation in that field. It's just like you can drop the filters and you can just be, and no masking, and like, especially for neurodivergent folk and people that will resonate, even just people pleasers, when you can just drop all of the masks away and just be completely yourself, and being integrity with your body and the feelings, and coming back to that, enhancing that, the innate body wisdom and instincts and intuition that come offline a lot when we're in a state of stress, or when we're not feeling our emotions, when we're avoiding them. That really is, essentially, that we are creating a breeding ground for disease, with the stress that's unintegrated, the trauma and stuck emotions in the body that don't get sequenced through. We are creating a breeding ground for dis-ease. And yeah, again, just another reason why I'm so passionate about this work, because it's a way to live a healthy and rich and fulfilling life. Just
Yeah.
being in the body, yeah, grounded.
And this is your third year with us. So you keep coming back, and you're such a part of our feast community over and over again. What's it like? Like, what are you excited about for this year? Just coming back into that community space, connecting with other feast participants and facilitators. What excites you about that?
Well, I think meeting new people, and like I said, people that were, courageous enough to walk to the edge, even when it felt uncomfortable. Yeah. So reconnecting with old friends, people that, they're regular people that come to feast quite often, but also, reconnecting with, peers, facilitators, the elders in the group, just like this, the language that we can share around each other in just this unfiltered space, the same wavelength, and got the same mission and vision, and slight different variations of it in our own unique way. But yeah, it's just such an empowering space to be in, and so uplifting to be involved. Yeah, and just to share, I think we all have, on some level, just this internal knowing that the senses that we have in our body are going to play a major role in our life moving forward, and beyond what we know them right now. So now, more than ever, is the time to come back to our bodies, and feast is the place to do that.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
greatest place to do that.
Yeah, it's a beautiful container, isn't it? Because people can learn how and develop more skills, and also experience that, so and feast is such a journey throughout. I think that's one of the gifts of the space is, because we're together for 3 nights, we're held in this container, there's the opportunity to deepen and journey. And I often notice, well, in my own journey through feast has lots of ups, downs, twists and turns. It really is quite a process in itself. And so to have that opportunity, it's a rare and precious thing, I think, in our world.
Yes, yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's something that you ask life for something, and it usually gives you the opposite of what you're asking for. You show that contrast, right? And then with that comes spaces of contraction, and our nervous systems get stretched in those moments. And yes, on the feast weekend, it's most people go at some point go through some sort of contraction, and then the expansion that comes after that. But to be held in this space of people that have all the skills, knowledge, and abilities and all the wisdom to be able to hold you in that state of contraction so that you can reach for that expansion. Like the feast is the place for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
then you
even
take that
before we,
beyond into your own life after feast.
yeah, yeah. And even before we actually land there, I think the process begins when we say yes to it. Do you know, like this, and I notice my own process leading in, we're 20 odd days out at the moment. And I can tell you, I had a big contraction a couple of days ago going, oh my God, this is so close. I have so much to do. But being able to work with my body in that space, huge resource. Like I can notice when it activates and then use my skills to settle. And it just makes it so much more easeful to approach. So yeah, I think there's a journey before we even land.
Absolutely. That's the beauty of
Yeah,
this work. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Mm.
Beautiful. So, anything else you want to share with us, Kate, about your offering, what you're excited about, what you're gifting into this community?
Yeah, I just like I said, I think just now more than ever, it feels like, I mean, I don't know whether you're noticing, Susan, or not, but just the last few months have felt very chaotic on a global scale, and it does feel like there's, the light of truth has been shone in some very dark corners, and it's left people feeling very unsettled, and yeah, me included. And I think, yeah, now more than ever is the time to come back to our bodies. And people are feeling like, I don't know who I can trust anymore. Well, let's just start with the self. Let's come back to trusting yourself and being able to, find safety here and calm here and peace here and stability here and all the things that we need, that we seek sometimes externally for. We need to come back to here. And I think all of what's happening on the planet at the moment is just a massive invitation for everybody to come back to here, come back home. This is where everything is that we need. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. What a beautiful invitation to come back to the body and to come back to pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah, to come to nourish and to resource ourselves. And there's a lot of healing to be had through pleasure too. Yeah.
Excellent.
So good chatting with you today. Thank you for making this time. And we are so excited to see you in 20 days, but who's counting?
Thanks, Susan. Look forward to seeing you there.
Pleasure.
Everyone
Thanks,
else,
Kate.
see you there.
Bye for now.